I'm going to tell you about a decision that I made that has costed me $20,000. And the reason that I want to do this is because I think that my most valuable lessons to aspiring health coaches, they don't come from the wins and successes of business, which is what you see online. They actually come from a lot of the mistakes and failures that I've made. And this was a big one, $20,000 to be exact. So here's the full story. I'm Brittany. I run Revived, a health coaching business, and also run Paid in Paradise, which is a course that teaches aspiring health coaches how to build a profitable business to 3 to 5K months. I've built Revived up over the last 4 years to generate multiple 6 figures, and I have made some good mistakes along the way, and this was one of them. So when I was a solopreneur, I was making pretty good money. This is the thing not a lot of people talk about when you have a team versus being a solopreneur. So people can say, oh yeah, I make 30K months, but then they have a whole team that they pay 60% of their profit to. So anyways, back before I had a team, I was making 15, 20K months, and I was pocketing all of that. So quickly my savings account, it started increasing, and I'm like, okay, I don't really know how to invest this money, but I was looking, I'm like kind of interested in maybe learning more about Airbnb. And I'm somebody that, girl, I just manifest, like I swear opportunities just come to me. And I put it out to my friends. I was like, I'm in Bali. I have like $20,000 that's sort of just sitting in my account. It's not really doing much. And I told my friend, I was like, yeah, I'm thinking about investing in some sort of property here and just want to see and learn more about that. And she's like, oh shit, yeah, like my friend, he owns an Airbnb here and he's not coming back to Bali. He has a successful business in India. So I'm like, okay, let me get in contact with him. And on paper, it sounded like a dream. And when something's too good to be true, it probably is. But I get into contact with him and he was amazing, like super upfront, honest. He walked me through the entire process on how to, do Airbnb arbitrage. So I was able to learn so much. And unfortunately, it was the rainiest season in Bali that it's ever been. So every day, morning to night, rain. There was mold in the Airbnb. The ceiling almost collapsed multiple times, like just so many issues. And the biggest problem was the bookings. Because I was a new Airbnb host, I wasn't getting as many bookings as I should. So there was so much that was going wrong. And after about 7-8 months, I was like, yeah, I'm not making any money from this and I'm definitely in the hole. And then after, fast forward a year, I had it and it was just so many headaches that I did not want to deal with, and grateful that I had such a good management company. I had such an amazing team. Like the workers in Indonesia, I can't even explain. I would not have been able to do this experience at all if it wasn't for them. They took care of everything, like everything. So again, super grateful. However, I had to look at this logically and I ran the numbers and I'm like, I just lost $20,000 and I had to make a decision in that moment. I was like, I cannot keep going. I'm just going to continue to lose money. So I decided to end the contract there. I was like, I need to step away from this. And then there's this moment in time when you're reflecting on this and you see how big of a mistake this was, and you have an option, right? You can choose to view this and blame yourself and allow those stories to run through your head about how much of a failure you are. What are people going to think of you? And how could you be so stupid? It sends you through this spiral of anxiety where you can take that moment and you can just pause and you could zoom out and you can look at it from the perspective of, what did this actually teach me? And am I safe? And that's what I chose to do immediately, because I know the stories that run through our head, that's what leads into our emotions, our actions, our behaviors. And if we don't control those stories, they will consume us. So these are the 3 questions that I choose to work through whenever something in business tends to go not the way I want it. Number 1 is, what did I actually gain that wasn't money? In this situation, I learned everything that there is to know about Airbnb. So eventually, if I own my own property, which is the only way I will get into the Airbnb space again, I know exactly how to set it up. I know the operations side of things. I know the management side of things. These are skills that are invaluable. Number 2 is I look at the facts of the situation. Your brain likes to catastrophize everything, right? When something goes wrong, like I was saying, your brain goes, you're a failure, you don't have enough for groceries. Like you just believe these stories. And again, that's what consumes you. Our brain goes to the worst case reality, not the reality of what's actually happening in front of us. I looked at the facts of things. I looked at my account and I was like, I decided to invest $20,000 because I had that available to lose. I knew it wouldn't put me in the hole. So I was like, do I have enough to cover my rent this month? Yes. Do I have enough money to put food on the table? Do I have enough money to pay my team? The answer was yes to all of these. I realistically was more fortunate than a lot of people. So I am very fortunate, but was this devastating? Yeah. Was it a pretty big setback for me? Absolutely. But the story that our brain likes to make up is always worse than what's actually happening in front of us. And then number 3, if I were to lose everything today, do I still have people that support me and love me in my life? And I am extremely fortunate. This is not something I take for granted. But if something goes wrong for me, as difficult as this one was to admit out loud, because I was worried about the judgment of other people and what people thought of me, I could go call my parents, I could call my sisters, I have friends to call. Like, I'm very fortunate in that area to have a family that fully does support me. And God forbid, worst case scenario, let's say my business burnt to the ground and I had to leave Bali. Like, do I have a home to go back to? Could I go back to a 9-to-5 job? Absolutely. My worst case scenario was actually the reality of a lot of people in this world. These questions, they really ground me. And I always say, like, life is about perspective. And for somebody that's had to work on their money mindset, this was a really big blow, and it brought up a lot of those money wounds and trauma surrounding it. But when I ask myself these questions, it allows me to, again, ground myself and change my perspective on what's actually happening. And then I can choose to just let go. And the reason that I wanted to tell you guys this, it's not to make you feel better about your mistakes, even though I hope it does. But I think the number one thing that stops aspiring health coaches from taking action within their business is the fear of doing it wrong, making a bad investment, failing, the fear of launching something that doesn't work, feeling stupid. And I want you guys to see from my mistake that getting it wrong, it's not the end of the story. It is a part of it. If you ask any successful entrepreneur, and I'm not referring to myself because I don't consider myself highly successful, but if you look at anybody's stories, Ed Mylett, Dan Martell, all of these famous podcasters in the personal growth and coaching space, they all have a rags to riches story. Every entrepreneur has made a lot of decisions that costed them a lot of time, a lot of money, sacrificing relationships. And all of those people will tell you that the biggest breakdowns and the worst investments and the biggest mistakes that they've ever made in business, that is what has taught them the most. Because I'm going to tell you guys right now, that is the name of the game in entrepreneurship. I'm telling you right now, you are going to invest in things that don't work. You're going to launch things that nobody signs up for. You're gonna have seasons where you feel like a fucking failure. And guess what? You're gonna survive every single one of them. And you're going to learn so much from every single mistake. The only actual failure here is when you let that fear stop you from building something that you know you're meant to build. You know you're here for a reason. You're listening to this video for a reason. You're on this path for a reason. You are meant to be a coach. So don't let that fear hold you back anymore. And if you are building an online health coaching business and you want the exact roadmap to help you avoid the expensive mistakes that I've had to make myself, this is exactly what Paid in Paradise is built for. It is the exact course that I wish I had when I was first starting in this journey. I learned through so many mistakes, so many bad mentors, so many great mentors, and systems that actually work. It is all within this course. If you want to learn more about Paid in Paradise, the link is in the description. And if this video, if it resonated at all, please subscribe. I do post weekly for aspiring health coaches that are trying to build an online business, and I'm not here to fucking sugarcoat anything if you couldn't tell. So drop a comment here. Have you ever made a very expensive business mistake? What did it cost you? How did you work through it? I want to hear your stories as well. And I will see you guys next week.